The opposition's plan for an Indigenous Advisory Committee was high on the agenda as Brisbane community members gathered at Musgrave Park. Meeting Chair Wayne Wharton says it's community meetings such as this where Indigenous affairs policy should begin, and not with politicians, bureaucrats or hand-picked advisory committees.
These are people that have no community. They're not leaders in any way. They haven't been given any authority. They haven't been given any credibility by their communities. They don't represent their communities. They're not entrusted and not authorised by the communities. The only times that they're referred to as Aboriginal leaders is by the white mainstream media.
Community member Karen Fusi says she sees a new paternalism in Australia, with measures such as the Northern Territory federal intervention and welfare quarantining. It's an approach she's experienced firsthand. She remembers lining up for rations as a child at Cherbourg Mission and fought authorities in the federal court for custody of her grandchildren.
When my daughter passed on, I should have been allowed to just take over my grandchildren without going to fight for them, for my grandchildren. And that's the big issue is with our own people, is that we need more of our people to stand up and fight for their children, fight for their rights.
The Cape York Institute's Noel Pearson has been touted as an advisor to Tony Abbott on Indigenous education. Griffith University Professor Bonnie Robertson welcomes moves to improve education, but is concerned that measures such as the federal intervention, which aim to improve Indigenous education, has so far failed to do so.
To think now that we've got to, a few days before the election, and we hear again another statement about, we're going to raise the profile of Indigenous education. You wonder what happened, in the previous 8 years.
Noel Pearson's direct instruction teaching approach targets students individually rather than the classroom as a whole.